Disclaimer. My work draws heavily upon the works of Carlos Castaneda. While there are few direct quotes, the underlying concepts are drawn from his work. My interpretations of those works are provided to advance my own point of view and in no way constitute a claim to anything that was not created by me. I have no commercial interest in this work. It is provided free for those who might find value in it. I have no connection with Castaneda's estate, nor with any entity, commercial or otherwise, that claims to be connected with Castaneda or with anyone connected to him. I express no opinion on the claims of those who purport to be connected with Castaneda, in the present or in the past.
Lastly, this work should not be construed as in any way condoning, supporting, encouraging, or recommending the use of any dangerous or illegal substance, or the performing of any dangerous or illegal activities. The teaching and research methods depicted in Castaneda's works should be viewed as the result of a unique convergence of time, place, and circumstance, and not as a template that any other person should attempt to follow.
I've changed the numbering and method of titling the files. Starting with this video, I'll refer to chapter numbers as opposed to video numbers. I realized that this makes things a little messy, but I think much less messy than if I'd continued without making this change. So, videos 1 through 3 inclusive correspond to chapters 1 through 3. Chapter 4 is made up of videos 4 and 5. Chapter 5 is the 6th video overall, and this video, the 7th overall, starts chapter 6. Sorry for the confusion.
Chapter 6. 1. Sorcerers divide all of creation into two absolute, immutable, mutually exclusive realms, the tonal and the natural. Don Juan describes the tonal, natural duality as the only true duality in the universe. The things we think of as absolute dualities, good and evil, heaven and hell, love and hate, etc., these are all simply pairs of items that belong to the tonal, manifesting seemingly opposite surface attributes. They are thus not true dualities. To the sorcerer, the tonal is everything we know. The tonal in the general sense encompasses the entire physical world, the parts that we're intimately familiar with, like the street we live on, and those we can suppose exist but of which we have no direct knowledge, like a comet orbiting a star billions of light years from Earth. Both of these places are equally ordinary, and equally extraordinary, to the sorcerer. But both belong to the tonal. Our personal tonal, for lack of a better phrase, is concerned with thoughts, emotions, possibilities, self-perception, the suppositions about what others may or may not think of us, etc. It's not a stretch to say that anything we can readily put a name to is part of the tonal. There is a humorous scene that takes place in a restaurant in Mexico City, when Don Juan introduces this topic, and Castaneda, anxious to defend the inclusiveness of Western knowledge, attempts to name something that would not be part of the tonal. Love, thought, mind, the superego. Castaneda tries. Don Juan dismisses each suggestion out of hand but lets his apprentice continue. Castaneda finally gives up, but, for that day at least, ends up with no greater understanding of the two concepts. As his understanding progresses, the restaurant conversation can be looked back upon as almost quaint. The important aspect for this discussion is that we can readily understand what the tonal is, in terms of ourselves and our interactions with people. The tonal is the social person. It is who we are, who we think we are, and what other people think we are. For an apprentice to become an audial, the teacher must relentlessly sharpen and test the student's tonal. Don Juan called this process clearing the island of the tonal. If you think of the luminous egg as two clearly defined halves, the process is one of making sure that the right side, the tonal, is perfect. In the process, the student becomes stronger, healthier, and more capable of leadership. Only then is the student strong enough to withstand the incomprehensible power of the natural.
2. The changes necessary for the apprentice to clean and sharpen his tonal are going to vary by individual, of course. The variety of life experiences we've all had leaves us better equipped to deal with certain things and totally ill-equipped to deal with others. Some people won't give up certain facets of their tonal without a massive struggle, even if it's shown that the thing in question is hugely negative. Thus therapists, psychiatrists, etc., will never run out of patience. This touches on another area in which the Castaneda-Don Juan relationship was rather unique. Castaneda was the first apprentice Nagual in Don Juan's line in several generations that was not of Indian and or Mexican descent. There was thus a wider than normal cultural divide to work across. That both Castaneda and Don Juan were fluent in both English and Spanish had to have been a significant benefit in that regard. There were, however, several broad areas that needed to be addressed in the tonal of every person who might seek to learn sorcery. This fact enabled Don Juan to teach from a consistent background, while allowing for the fact that each person will require a specific approach. Also, while Castaneda assigned it to coincidence, and Don Juan assigned it to the designs of power, as he called it, Don Juan was the perfect teacher for Castaneda. He was an excellent speaker and was comfortable with detailed explanations. This suited Castaneda's academic approach to learning perfectly. Also, their relationship is described by Castaneda as dry, formal, and direct, very much in keeping with Castaneda's expectation of a student-teacher relationship.
3. The most important general lessons I took away from the overall writings about the restructuring of the tonal are: 1. Small changes can have big effects, but only when applied consistently over a period of time. 2. In a sense, there is no change, per se. There is a reordering of feelings and behaviors. Desirable traits are brought to the front, undesirable ones are sent to the back. 3. While the natural is terrifying, the process of transforming the tonal is much more difficult and harrowing. As we progress through the details of Castaneda's learning, the above will become clear.